Oh boy, so I just got back from a recovery run. Pushed a little harder than I normally would for a recovery run, but the pavement, or the roads anyway, were dry for the most part. There was a few icy spots here and there, but I couldn't really run on the sidewalks because they were not in such great condition. But given that the road was dry, I decided to take out the Adios Pro 3. Now, I did take those out yesterday, which is why I thought today would be a fun day to take them out as well. And they did really, really well. I'm doing some interval work yesterday. But it felt good. So, I just kind of ran a pace that I thought I was comfortable with. I know my heart rate was probably in zone 3 or 4, something like that. I haven't really checked that out yet. But it felt good. It felt really good to be in those shoes. They're pretty smooth. I still have a little bit of an issue with a sore spot on top of my foot that I talked about before. And I honestly don't know how many miles I have in them right now. I don't think I have 100 miles in them yet. But when I do, I'll do a 100-mile review on those. I was going to take them out for my long run on Monday. But I don't know yet. It depends on how sore the top of my foot is. Anyway, I was having some coffee this morning, and I was watching a video off Seth's channel. He had reviewed the Kinvara 14, and that's a shoe that I've never run in, but it piqued my interest a little when I ran the Detroit Marathon, because the pacer, Tim, for our 320 pace group, was running in the Saucony Kinvaras. And I hadn't run in those shoes, and mainly because, I understand that they are a bit more stiff of a ride, or responsive, I guess is the code word for a shoe that isn't all that cushioned necessarily. But what are your guys' thoughts? Have any of you run in the Kinvara, and is it all that? I mean, or do you have to have a pretty perfect running stride to pull them off? Because I found that those that have a pretty well-established, run gait. In other words, they're pretty smooth on their feet. They're not pounding the pavement. Love the more responsive shoes like that. I'm not quite there yet. I'm always trying to work on improving my foot strike and make it so that it's not quite so much pounding the pavement and more towards riding a bicycle kind of a thing. And I'm getting there. It's much better than it was a few years ago, that's for sure. But I wondered what your guys' thoughts were. Yay or nay on the Kinvara? Is that a shoe that I should be looking at maybe in the future? I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Maybe you could share it in the comment section below. All right, I gotta get a little bit of protein in me, jump in the shower after I stretch out, and probably continue to work on this video a little bit. So we'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Oh, time to put the shoes back up on the shelf for another day. A little tea to help warm me up. It wasn't terrible out there. In fact, the weather was pretty decent compared to what it has been, but tomorrow's going to be a different story. I'm supposed to be running some intervals tomorrow, and I was looking ahead at the forecast, and it looks like it's going to be in the single digits in minus 9 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chill factor, and that would put it at somewhere around, you guys help me out with Celsius, with minus 22 degrees Celsius, something like that. So there is a wind chill advisory tomorrow, and they're warning people about frostbite and things like that. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to attempt to run outside or maybe go to the gym and try to run on a treadmill, but I don't have my gym membership anymore. It means I'd have to reactivate that, or maybe do some speed work on my indoor cycling bike. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out tomorrow. But either way, I got a really cold day ahead of me tomorrow. So right before I took a little break there to cool down and have some lunch, take a shower, things like that, I was talking about the Kinvara 14 that Seth was reviewing on his channel, and the fact that Tim, my pacer in Detroit, was running in the Kinvaras. I think it was Kinvara 13, obviously at that time. But one of the things that was really interesting to me is, we had a chance to talk quite a bit over, the course of the race. And I had asked him why he, chose to run in the Kinvara as opposed to running in, if he was a Saucony fan, why not the Endorphin Pro 1, 2, or 3? And he had said that he'd never raced in a carbon-plated shoe. Now, this is a guy that has paced a lot of marathons, so he's got a lot of experience under his belt and never saw the need to run in any kind of carbon-plated shoes. He was happy with what he had. So I think that just says a lot. It says a lot about him as an athlete and a runner. He wasn't relying on technology to get him there. It was just good old-fashioned hard work. So I really appreciate that. So kudos to you, Tim, if you're watching this. Oh, and speaking of the Detroit Marathon, so I just got this in the mail. This is a little plaque. I'll take a picture so you can see it a little better. But I had placed 3rd in the Detroit Marathon in my age group. Okay, in my age group. Okay, so not in my division, but in my age group. So age 55 to 59. I took 3rd, which was good enough for them to send me a commemorative plaque. So I was pretty happy about that. Pretty excited to get that in the mail. Something that I wasn't expecting. So nice bonus for me, I guess. I'm going to try to find a way to display this with my finisher's medal and my bib and things like that. So maybe make a nice little display as just a nice memory to have, to keep and hold. Okay, so enough about that. I think what I'll do is I'll share the last couple of workouts with you. I mentioned that I'd been running the last 2 times in the Adios Pro 3. And I do love the midsole ride of these. I've mentioned that many times in previous videos. But one of the things that bothers me, and it's specific to my right foot, right up here, I get some pain on the top of my foot for some reason. And I can't seem to figure that out just yet. It didn't feel too bad yesterday running in intervals, but I noticed that I hadn't really cinched it down that much to really lock my foot in, but I cinched it down a little bit more today, and maybe that's the key. Maybe I need to run it with a little bit more loose up here across. I wouldn't say it's in the toe box. It's more right along the start of the eyelet chain. So something I need to toy with a little bit because these felt pretty darn terrific, really smooth, especially today in my recovery run today. It just felt very natural, very smooth, and it was just really enjoyable to be out there. I almost had that feeling of flying a little bit today. I love that. So I think what I'll do is I'll share a little information on the intervals that I ran in these, because a big difference between running in these and what I had been running in the Hoka Tecton X, both in feel, much more comfortable. Oh, love the midsole ride of these. And quite a bit faster, obviously. But then also I will share the recovery run stats from today as well at the end here in just a second. So. All right. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim.